Hey everyone, this is Paul Gale from paulgalenetwork.com, and thank you for joining me today for video game news. It is September 23rd, 2020, and these are the top stories of the day. Now, since it is September 23rd, I could officially say happy birthday Nintendo. Yes, I did mention it yesterday on the channel, happy birthday Nintendo, because it was in Japan time, September 23rd for them, and thus being Nintendo's 131st anniversary. But now that the rest of the world is on the 23rd, we could say it one more time. So Nintendo, happy anniversary. And speaking of Nintendo, the first news story of the day is Nintendo Switch related because Nintendo seems to accidentally have put up on their page a listing for Kirby Fighters 2 for Nintendo Switch, $20. That's not available right now on the eShop. This is only one of a couple of things actually that's going on Nintendo's site behind the scenes that got updated that people have been able to uncover. First, Kirby Fighters 2. The original one was on the 3DS several years ago, and this new one seemingly is coming out soon. But when? Well, that might be in a new Nintendo Direct of sorts, because also on Nintendo's page, there's a little bit of an uncovery of the Nintendo Direct listings being updated. Now, usually when that kind of thing happens, a Nintendo Direct isn't too far away from happening. Could we be getting a mini soon? Well, it wouldn't be a partner showcase if it's Kirby, right? Because that's a Nintendo IP. So presumably this will get shown off in a Nintendo Direct mini, in a full Nintendo Direct, or of course it could just be announced and dropped on its own. But this lines up pretty well with the fact that the Direct page on Nintendo's site has recently been updated. So we'll see. But that's kind of interesting that Nintendo dropped this unexpectedly, accidentally. But that's about it for this story. I'll update you when it officially becomes a thing. But for now, expect Kirby Fighters 2 in the not too distant future. Next up, we mentioned on the channel previously that Geoff Keighley said that the Game Awards would be coming back this year in December. Now we have a date. It's Thursday, December 10th. It'll be live from Los Angeles, London, and Tokyo. A multi-world of wonder awaits. I think that's pretty cool. As I've mentioned on the channel before, I like Geoff Keighley. We've met a few times at E3 over the years. He's nice. I like the Game Awards. It's interesting to see whatever they come out with. There's always plenty of trailers, plenty of reveals, first time looks, console looks. That's where we got the Xbox Series X last year, or we got Mortal Kombat in the past. You know, as an award show, it's fun, but I gotta say, for me, the best part about the show is seeing the new trailers. You know, it's like a mini E3 of sorts. And I don't even know about a mini E3. It's kind of like a second E3 because some of the things that have been announced there are just as, you know, size-worthy, as noteworthy as an E3. So it's pretty cool. I've live streamed them before, and I will very likely do that again this December 10th. So that's not too far away. What could we see? Well, anything really. Wouldn't it be crazy if it was at this event that we got a look at a Nintendo Switch Plus that's been speculated to be in development for a while? Could we finally see Bayonetta 3, since here's where we got that first trailer from 3 years ago? Time will tell, but December 10th, good job, Geoff, on announcing that date. Here's to then. Next up in game news, Mortal Kombat 11 has been out for a while. Its Aftermath pack has been out for a few months as well. We got the original voice actor of Shang Tsung from the Mortal Kombat movie to reprise his role of Shang Tsung with some facial characteristics, his voice supplying to the game. But now it seems like a couple of codes have been cracked online, and the rest of the cast, or at least a good portion of the cast from the Mortal Kombat 1995 film, is coming back to do a new voice character pack for Mortal Kombat 11. That's pretty cool. This would be, you know, Johnny Cage, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Sonya Blade, Raiden from the Mortal Kombat film, having an option to use their voices in this title. Fun. Could it also include skins, visual representations, modified skins of our existing characters to look like their movie counterparts, the actors back then? Maybe. That's kind of speculation on my part, but that would be kind of a cool extra. Of course, Mortal Kombat 11 is a really good game. I recommend it. Whether you're playing it on console, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, PC, it's really solid. So probably this will be made official soon, but I thought I would mention it now. Next up, also kind of rumor talk, is Metal Gear Solid Remake, and potentially it being a PlayStation 5 exclusive. This is the first Metal Gear Solid that originally came out on PlayStation back in October of 1998, voice acted by David Hayter, which you could hear right here.
We're having trouble with Metal Gear. I need your help.
That's awesome. That's David Hayter and me back in 2006 at Tommy Tallarico's Video Games Live event, and we made a couple of little videos. That's one of them. David Hayter was the voice actor for Solid Snake for many years, and didn't reprise the role in Part 5, but for the rest of them, he gave us that iconic, gruffy Solid Snake voice that has become iconic and embedded into many of our minds. So I hope that if this is real, if we're actually getting this Metal Gear Solid remake, that David Hayter's back on board. That's number one. Number two, I would like to see Konami go big with it and have this game be not just a recoat, a repainting, because we did get that once before. Dennis Dyack and the team at Silicon Knights did that with Konami back in the day on Nintendo GameCube with Metal Gear Solid The Twin Snakes for Nintendo GameCube. That was a remake several years after the PlayStation original, and it was a big leap in visual quality. The hardware was significantly more powerful, that is GameCube over the original PlayStation, but it was a repainting, if you will, of the first game. Newly voiced scenes, but overall the same experience. New cinema scenes, and for some it was better, for some it was worse, but same game. I'd like to see basically like the Final Fantasy VII treatment. If they're going to go with Metal Gear Solid and do a full-on remake, give me that FF7 remake treatment where it's the same story, same overall theme, but, bigger. I like things like the Crash Bandicoot trilogy remaster, Spyro the Dragon Reignited trilogy, where it's a repainting of an old game. Ocarina of Time from Nintendo 64 to 3DS, a repainting of it, But that happened once already with MGS. Give this game that Resident Evil 2 treatment of that remake, or the Final Fantasy VII treatment. Anyways, it's still a rumor for now. But in addition to the rumor of Metal Gear Solid possibly getting the full remake treatment, there's also talks of a compilation, a standalone disc or cartridge of Metal Gear Solids 2 through 4 being put together in one set, and that would be a great value. If that comes out for $60 and it just gets the slight remaster treatment, brought into 1080p, crispened up a little bit, and with the modern subsistence controls, dual analog and whatnot, and that releases for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and of course the other consoles. That would be a really good deal, especially if that's $60, like I said. That's sweet. I would definitely like to have that, especially on Nintendo Switch, because those are games that could all run on the system, all systems across the board pretty equally, and running on Switch in handheld mode, having MGS4, which is locked to PS3, in handheld would be terrific. But we'll see if something comes out of this. I find it interesting because that would be another big move by Sony if they got MGS5 to be, MGS Remake to be a PS5 exclusive just after announcing Final Fantasy 16 PS5 exclusive. And there's David Hayter, if you wanted to see a little bit more clear of what the man behind Solid Snake looked like, since in the previous shot, the video was kind of dark. And last bit of news, speaking of big moves and whatnot, this may be a sign of relief for a lot of you. Microsoft announced today, they will be going to the Tokyo Game Show, as I've reported before on this channel. That's not the new part, but they did update their stance on what they're doing. They'll be celebrating Japanese game creators and games, updates coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator for PC, Japanese Minecraft community creativity, showcase broadcast in Japanese only, no new next-gen news. And when you scroll down, you see a little bit more from them, and this is kind of funny. And by the way, there won't be any acquisition news at the show. All right, I'll like that. And that's important because the other day, although I will elaborate on this right here before I scroll up. The other day in Video Game News with Paul Gale Network, I spoke of this rumor going around that Sega may be acquired by Microsoft and how crazy huge that is. I've heard it online. I've seen different reports. I've been getting some things myself. I'm on the I don't think so side of things, but it would be wild if that was the case. This looks like that's not happening unless they pull the rug out from under us and they're big surprise. But let's go ahead and say this puts the rumor to the side. Now, as much of a big move as it would be and how crazy it would be for the Xbox community, it's kind of funny because as the gamer in me, I see the necessity of exclusives. It helps build brands, the benefit of acquiring studios and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's not the most pro-consumer thing to do because not having all games across the board means that ultimately fewer people will experience all those games unless if they happen to buy every console. You know what I mean? If Microsoft buys Sega and they say, okay, Sonic the Hedgehog is only available on Xbox from now on, well, you wouldn't be playing it unless if you bought Xbox. If they wanted to, they wouldn't, release it on Xbox first and other consoles later. That would be it. But as you see with Bethesda, it'll be a case-by-case scenario. I think they're going to still have, the next Doom, the next Wolfenstein on multiple platforms. They'll just have some kind of timed exclusivity on Xbox, reel you in with Game Pass, a year later release it on PlayStation and Nintendo, but we'll see. So for now, I like that Sega is available everywhere. I don't mind some games being exclusive to some platforms, but overall, a brand, a company identity, I like games to be experienced by the most amount of people possible. But we'll see. Oh, and I did say I would get to one more thing. And once again, the rumor mill is going wild because of this right here. Xbox says, and by the way, there won't be any new acquisition news at the show, and they have this little sign. Of course, some fans are already speculating, no, this is a sign that it is happening because that's the same color scheme as Sonic's shoe. Red, white stripe down the middle. As funny as it is, different hints have been dropped like this in the past. After all, we saw the Xbox Series S months ago without even realizing that it was just on the shelf in the background of an office. And sometimes there are little hints like that drop, but I still don't think it's going to happen this weekend, but you never know. If it did, it would be big. Bethesda is a bigger company with more significant brands these days, but growing up in the 90s for me, a Sega acquisition would be kind of bigger news because that's been in my mind for more years, Sega over Bethesda. But anyways, either would be crazy. But I think that does it for today's news. What did you think? Do you think we're going to get a Nintendo Direct soon? What did you think of the Nintendo news with Kirby Fighters 2? Are you looking forward to the Game Awards December 10th? I will be checking it out. Are you a fan of Mortal Kombat 11? And are you looking forward to potentially hearing voice actors from the 1995 film? What do you think of these Metal Gear Solid rumors? Could a big move like MGS, full-on remake, reimagining on PS5 as an exclusive, sway you over to buying that system? I mean, I've got my Xbox Series X and my PS5 disc accounted for. I'm good. But not everyone's going to buy multiple systems. I love MGS. Do you like it enough that you would buy a whole system for? Let me know. And finally, what's your final stance going into this weekend? Is Microsoft going to buy Sega? Are they going to make an announcement? Or is it just blown out of proportion from rumors and leaks and sources and speculation on fans' parts? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Hope you all have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you next time for more video game news. Bye.